Hey, I am so glad you're here. This whole month we've been doing D&D inspired projects from some of my favorite campaigns, and one of the series that I considered making something from was Delicious in Dungeon, which is an animated series wherein they make a lot of delicious food out of the monsters that they slay in the dungeon, among a lot of other things, but that's just one part of it. But then I had the idea to combine all of our prior projects with the food aspect of Delicious in Dungeon, and I thought it would be fun to make a recipe from each campaign series that we featured this month. The world building in a lot of these series is always so detailed that they do often have foods mentioned and described, so I thought it would be fun to feature some of those, except for the one that's just kind of inspired by the character more than a food in the campaign, but I digress. It was an adventure, and this is how that went. Recipe number 1. Since the first video this month was based off of Cloudword Hoe, a Dimension 20 campaign, I thought it'd be fun to make some recipes inspired by the season.
For whatever reason, during this first recipe, my camera just could not focus. I promise it doesn't do this throughout the whole video, but it just kept doing this, and I was so far away from the camera screen that I didn't notice it happening. So I'm sorry it looks terrible in this first part, but I promise it gets better.
There are actually a few different foods mentioned in this campaign, mainly because Vanellope Chapman, one of the main characters, owns a pub with her husband, Bert, who I'm trying to channel, called the Rusty Nut. And it's kind of described as this little pub that you would expect to be very sky piratey or sea piratey, but it's more like millennial gray and just serves like trendy foods. So one of the biggest running gags throughout the season is the fact that they just make a ton of aioli. And because the aioli comes back time and time again, I thought it'd be fun to make some aioli from scratch. So I've got my little recipe box here, and I wrote down a garlic aioli recipe from sweetteaandthyme.com. Really all we need is garlic, lemon, salt and pepper, olive oil, and eggs. Egg yolks, specifically. Now it says freshly minced garlic. I don't have that, so I have this. And I also don't have a lemon, so I've got a little thing of lemon juice. And we're just gonna mix it all in an airtight container that it's going to live in for up to a week in the fridge. Oh gosh, I'm distracted. So, let's get cracking. Literally, I need to crack the eggs. We'll put our egg whites in this one and our egg yolks in this one. I'm just gonna use my hands. Oh, I did not think this through. Separate the whites. We're gonna just toss the yolks into the container. Oh my gosh, I cannot do this with my left hand. Oh God. Okay, we're fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Can you let go? I need you to let go. All right. There's our yolks and our whites separated. I'm gonna go wash my hands. 1 to 2 garlic cloves is how much of you? This says a serving is a teaspoon. So we're gonna pretend that a clove is 1 serving. And we're just gonna say 1 to 2 cloves would be 2 teaspoons. And if it's extra garlicky, that's fine, because I like garlic. Juice of half a lemon. I didn't think this through. Okay, we're gonna say 4 teaspoons. I don't know. Maybe that's a lot. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna... One. Oh man. Good stuff. This is not a cooking channel for a reason. And now I need to go blend it with the immersion blender. The outlets in here are very strangely placed, so reaching to the table might be an issue. Blend for 30 seconds and then add the olive oil. I'm just gonna get the olive oil ready. That's good. Now it's time to blend. 30 seconds. We're just gonna count. We're just gonna count. I'm gonna be honest, it could have been better. I think putting it in a cup or something might have been more prudent. To catch the drippy. Okay, that's a minute. It's looking a little thin. What are we gonna do? You know what, we'll just keep going. We'll go for another 30 seconds. Alright friends, this is not going according to plan. I'm gonna find a cup and see if that makes a difference. Alright, take 2. We're gonna see if this is any better. It's not thickening up. Oh, I forgot the salt. Is that gonna make or break this? How much salt? Or a pinch. Is that gonna activate something? Right now we have aioli juice, but no aioli. I need to make Bert proud. We're just gonna add mayonnaise to it. It is still not thick, and the immersion blender is very hot because I've been blending for so long. So I added 2 of the other eggs that I was going to use for our next recipe. I added those egg yolks to it to see if that would thicken it up. It did not. I looked online and it said, oh, the more fat oil that you add to it, the more thick it will be. It's not thick. I think I added too much lemon juice, but we're just gonna, which, you know, I don't know. We're gonna find out. Just gonna, okay, well, you know what? That's fine. It's actually fine. Just dollop it right in there. Dollop. Okay, take 45. I think we're gonna have to call it on the aioli. Well, oh gosh, I'm making a mess. I wonder if Bert's aioli didn't work the first time. I'm gonna set this aside and think about what to do with it, because I don't like wasting food. And this, I don't want to look at it anymore. Okay, while our aioli sits in the corner and thinks about what it's done. The other recipe from Cloudword Hoe I thought I would make is a pizookie, which is a pizza cookie. It's another one of those trendy foods. They joke about it a few times in the show, and I don't need a whole lot of convincing to make a giant cookie. So I'm gonna use my chocolate chip cookie recipe to make this because it's just a giant cookie, right? Why would it be any different than just making cookie dough? I don't know. And of course, I didn't know how to make the aioli either. We're not gonna talk about the aioli. I used to bake a lot, and chocolate chip cookies are one of my favorite desserts. So I tried a lot of different chocolate chip cookie recipes with varying degrees of success, and I basically kind of figured out what ratios worked. I like chewy cookies, so this recipe is just what I kind of figured out over time, making all of these different cookie recipes. I'm just going to make the batch of cookie dough like I normally would, and then we're gonna bake it in my cast iron skillet. So before we put it in our skillet, we need to make the dough. So I'm first going to do the flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. 1 cup, 2 cup, 2 1/4. Where's my 4th? How do I not have a 4th cup? Tablespoons in 4th cup. 4 tablespoons. How about 4? Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now a teaspoon of baking soda. Teaspoon of baking powder. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Thought I had a whisk, but I guess I don't. So I'm just gonna give that a little stir. I'm gonna set this aside for now. Gone ahead and melted my butter. And here we're gonna add the sugar. I need 3/4 brown sugar, so that, ooh. And then 1/2 cup of white sugar. I should have used a bigger bowl. Don't be like me, use a bigger bowl. I'm gonna mix all that together. There's my tiny whisk. I'm gonna make sure that it's not too warm anymore because of the melted butter. And then I'm gonna add the eggs, because it's 1 full egg. And then separate 1 more egg yolk, like we did with the aioli. And here's our 2nd egg yolk. And then I'll just mix these up. So now we're gonna add that to the flour mixture. Mix this all together. It's a little more dry and crumbly than I remember it being. I think I might add just a splash of milk to kind of wet it a little bit. That's a little bit better. It's at least sticking together more. All right, now I'm gonna fold in the chocolate chips.
It says fold it in!
Okay, now we need to transfer it to the cast iron skillet. I'm gonna lightly oil it by just pouring a little bit in. Just kind of spread it around. Now I'm just gonna push all of the dough into it, and it's still really crumbly. I'm really surprised. Come on, everybody. I'm just gonna use my hands. Pack it all into the skillet until it's even. Now, I've never baked the cookie dough like this. Normally, I'd make little balls of dough and cook them at 325 for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then after baking, let them cool for another 10 minutes. But I don't know how this is going to bake up in a skillet in just one big piece. I don't know how long to bake it for, or if I should maybe raise the temp, because I would normally kind of underbake my cookies just a little bit because I like them chewy. We shall see. I feel feel as though that is sufficient. All right, our dough is in the skillet, and it's time to bake. I feel like when I was making the aioli, my cosmic player rolled a nat 1. Hopefully they roll at least a 10 for the pizookie before I take the pizookie up to bake. Then we do a little skill check to see how it turns out. Because I've made the cookie dough before, I'm gonna give myself advantage. 15! Okay. We'll take it. Well, that was a journey. Going into this, I thought the aioli was going to take me 5 minutes, maybe even less. However, I never got it to thicken up. What I showed was my cutting corners aioli, which was just mayonnaise mixed with lemon, garlic, and salt and pepper, which I could have done from the beginning. But I thought, it's a cooking video, so I gotta make it from scratch. I always loved Bert, but now my respect for him has deepened. But I think one thing that I did wrong was the eggs are supposed to be room temperature, and I did leave them out to get them to room temp. The problem is my living space is pretty cold, so I wonder if these slightly cooler than room temp eggs and the too much lemon juice just kind of worked together to, well, they didn't work together, they refused to work together. It's a group project, count me out. The pizookie, however, worked out pretty well. It's a little underbaked in the middle, but it did brown nicely around the edge. But you know what? It is delicious. It holds its shape. But yeah, it's a solid cookie. The universe rolled a nat 1 for me on the aioli, but I think a 15 is fitting. It's not a 20. We still have a couple more recipes to try out. Hopefully we won't have any more aioli incidents. Do not underestimate aioli. Cheers. Okay, recipe number 2, or technically 3. Recipe number 3, because our second project of the month was Bitsy the mouse, who gets, according to her, kicked out of her town because they didn't know the difference between lemons and lemon juice.
Well, the one is the lemon and then the other's like a liquidy juice.
So I figured since lemon juice is such a big deal to Bitsy, we'd make lemon bars. Now, I haven't made them from scratch in a long time, but I found a lemon bar recipe from a website called Gimme Some Oven. And all we're gonna need to make it is some flour, powdered sugar, butter, eggs, and lemon. Now, it says to use lemon zest and freshly squeezed lemon juice. And the only place I could go for lemons was a dollar store, and the lemons were this big, and they were almost $4. So we're gonna use lemon juice for everything. There isn't going to be any zest. There's just gonna be juice, and I think it'll be fine. So to start, we're gonna make the crust first, because that has to pre-bake before putting the filling in. So I'm gonna move this around and only keep the stuff out that is for the crust. So really, it's just the eggs that need to leave. Where am I gonna put the eggs? Let's put the eggs in the basket. I just put all my eggs in one basket. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is butter this dish. I need 1.5 sticks of butter, so I just cut this one in half, unwrapped it a little bit, and I'm just gonna butter the dish. To make the crust, we're going to use a food processor. You could use a pastry cutter or a fork, but when it said food processor, I thought that's much easier. We'll do that. So to do this, 1.5 cups of flour. How much sugar? I don't know if my food processor is big enough for this. I guess we'll find out. Oh, re-scoop. Oh, we're cutting it close. Oh no. We're gonna need a bigger bowl. Yeah, we'll see. Now I'm just gonna dice the butter. It's gonna be a bit of a squeeze. Maybe it'll be okay. Now we're just gonna add a 4th cup of powdered sugar, which I still cannot find my 4th cup, so we'll be using 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar. I don't know why I said it like that. 2, 3, 4. It is so full. Once again, I didn't think this through. And it says to add the zest of 1 lemon, but again, we don't have that. I'm just gonna add the butter now, incorporate it as much as I can in this tiny little thing. Drizzle a little bit of lemon in there. So we'll just add the butter and cross our fingers. There will be enough room. Everybody get in there. This was a mistake. This was a big mistake. I no room anymore. Oh my gosh, why did I do this? It'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. If it really can't handle it, I'll just transfer it all into a bowl and do it with a fork. Which I probably should have done in the first place because this is well past the fill line, but we're not gonna talk about it. So I'm gonna put the lid on. Okay, there's still room at the top, that's fine. New problem, cord is this long. And my outlet is back there. How are we looking? Okay, that looks pretty good. My knees. Now that our crust mix is mixed, I'm gonna take that buttered pan that we did earlier and I'm just going to press it in with the spatula. I gotta say, that was a little harder than I expected it to be. It's very sticky because of all the butter, I'm assuming. So I kept sticking to the spatula and not to the pan, which is good. It's not supposed to stick to the pan and hopefully it won't when we get it out later. We have to pre-bake this at 350 for about 20 minutes. And while we wait for that to finish pre-baking, we'll make the filling. To make the filling, I am going to add powdered sugar through this little mesh strainer here. Once it gets down to these bigger clumps in there, I just work it through with my whisk. Now we need flour. I should put it through the strainer as well. Oh no, here's 1, 2. Now we need 4 eggs. I'm just gonna toss the shells in here since it's already dirty. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Take care of that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, now we need ½ cup of lemon juice. Still has some powdered sugar on it, but that's okay. Can I screw the whole thing off? No, I cannot. We're gonna be here a while. Okay, that took forever, but we got there. ½ cup of lemon juice. And now I'm just gonna whisk it all together. Despite using the strainer, there are still quite a few clumps of sugar. It's very liquidy, having aioli flashbacks, but I put all of the ingredients in as listed, so I'm just gonna trust the process. And once our crust is done pre-baking, we'll add this in. Okay, there are a few little cracks here and there, and I don't think a lot of the sugar incorporated in their little spots, but you know what? We're gonna cover it up with powdered sugar, and then who will know? I mean, you and I will, but that's okay. This is very old powdered sugar, oh my gosh. Just kind of sprinkle some in there, dust it over top. Do a little light dusting. We're gonna make a mess. That's okay, messes can be cleaned up. Don't sneeze, it'll just there we go! There are our lemon bars. Let's try one. Woo! Okay. That lemon does pack a punch. But you know what? That's what the powdered sugar is there for. Really tart lemon center with this little powdered sugar topping and this kind of shortbready crust. They're just good. I wonder how it would taste with fresh lemon, but honestly, I don't believe it'd be that different. Just use whatever you have on hand, because guess what? You'll get a lemon bar. But overall, it's just a nice crumbly and flaky somehow little crust.
Bake them with buttery, crispy crust.
Yeah. I think this was a success. My family is definitely going to eat them up over the next week, which is good because we have more recipes coming down the line, so let's see what we're working on next. Alright, our next recipe is from the Starstruck Odyssey Dimension 20 campaign. Earlier this month we made the Junk Mother, so I decided to do a recipe from that campaign. And the Junk Mother actually lives underneath a theme park called Uncle Bob's Fantanimal-Land. And when you go to Uncle Bob's Fantanimal-Land, you absolutely have to try the maple cakes.
Sweet maple cake?
The maple cake, we gotta get that. Getting a maple cake.
Most people here are getting the maple cake?
They make it abundantly clear that you have to get the maple cakes. It's like the one food that you would regret not trying.
So what's the thing that you, like, I would be upset if I like left the Gravois worlds and I'd never had it.
I would say you have to get the maple cake just to have it.
Now, while doing my research, just rewatching some of the campaign, Lou, who plays the character Gunny, who is the one going for the maple cakes,
I just want cake.
actually mentions two different treats. They mention these squirrel-shaped pancakes.
I want one of those squirrel-shaped pancakes they have at all the places here.
That's
Are they
amazing.
shaped like just normal pancakes?
Do you want them shaped like something else?
It's fine.
He wants it shaped like a squirrel.
And then they also mentioned the maple cakes. And I couldn't tell if these were truly two items or if they were just kind of mixing the two together, improvising that they are now squirrel-shaped. But I thought it'd be fun to make both squirrel-shaped pancakes and maple cakes. I'm gonna try to make up my own recipe for maple cakes, so we're going to do that last. And for the squirrel-shaped pancakes, we're just gonna use a pancake mix. Now, I love to fly first class by the seat of my pants, so whenever I use boxed pancake mix, I don't measure anything. I just kind of like to do it by eye. So I'm just gonna kind of dump this in here. Should I put it through the sieve? It's fine. We're not gonna make a lot of these. I just want to see if we can make a squirrel-shaped one. Some water. Another trick I like to do with box mix is using half the amount of water that they suggest and using the other half. Oh, it fell handle first. And the other half is milk. That was the rest of that sentence. If you can, obviously. I should grab a paper towel. Learned my lesson by now. Just need to get, okay. We'll just keep these on hand. I'm also gonna sprinkle in just a little bit of cinnamon. And I'm just gonna start whisking. Normally I don't want the mix to be really thin because I don't like thin pancakes, but I'm gonna have to push the mix through the nozzle of a mustard bottle I have to try and draw the shape. So it can't be too thick and lumpy. I should have used the sieve. I'm gonna go transfer this into the bottle and try not to get pancake batter all over everything, so I'll be right back. It should be better. Oh, okay. Oh gosh. Oh, that was a big lump. Oh my gosh. This might be the perfect amount. Mission success. All right, we've got our batter in the bottle. I'm gonna set up the hot plate and a pan, and then we'll get to drawing our little squirrel pancakes. I've already greased the pan. I've greased it really well, potentially too well, because I really don't want this to stick. Also, if you ever see the clock on my microwave, it's not accurate because I've never set it. It might be too hot, is it? Is there too much oil? Do it on the far side. Oh, shoot! Aw, man, I gotta soak some of that up with paper towel. I'm not gonna sit down for this. I'm too nervous. Okay, I should do it from your point of view. We can always do another. I know they're kind of spoofing Mickey Mouse, I'm sure, if I had to guess, which would be the, iconic head and ears. But since it's a squirrel doesn't really have that iconic front-facing silhouette. So I'm gonna do a sideways profile of a squirrel, hopefully. Okay, we'll just go for it. You know what? There's a little ear. There's the back. I'm kind of like the tail. There's the tail. And then, oh no, we put our first lump. Oh no. Lump has been dislodged. Gonna continue with the little feet. Little feet. Oh, second lump. Oh my gosh, okay. Oh gosh. And then a little head maybe? Oh, okay. Okay, that's squirrel-ish. And I'll just kind of fill it in pretty quickly because the outside is cooked. Fill it in really quickly. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's another lump. Okay, there we go. And another lump. Please don't explode. Oh, please. We're so close. Come on, man. Come on. Shoot. Oh no. Oh no. Oh! Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, you know what though? You know what? We still might have an outline of a squirrel. Hold on. Double spatula. Here we go. Fill in the rest. This will just be big pancake. It's going so well. I can't believe that just happened, and yet at the same time I really can. We'll see if you can still see the squirrel on the other side. And of course, after just removing all that oil, it is very likely going to stick. We're gonna do this again. All right, this was a messy flip because it did stick because I soaked up all the excess oil, and it's a domino effect. But look at there he is. I mean, you can kind of see him. He's a first attempt. It's fine. Once he's fully cooked, I'm gonna try again. Okay, round 2. I didn't make more batter. We're just gonna try to get one squirrel. Just one. We were so close last time. I think we can do it. I re-oiled the pan. We're gonna try again. We have very little batter left, so we're just gonna rip it. We're just gonna go for it. Okay, all right. We got this. We got time. We're gonna be patient. We are gonna be. Okay, no, it's clogged. Cleared the clog. See if we can just get one squirrel. Just one. Just one. Oh my gosh. No. Okay. You know what then? We'll have it your way. I'm just gonna fill in the rest. I'm not even gonna worry about it. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's a squirrel. And this mustard bottle is my new enemy. Okay, all of the little bubbles are appearing, so I'm gonna try to flip it. Please, oh please. Go around the edges first. No, not from this angle, not from this angle. Okay, double spatula. All right, here we go. Wait, okay, actually, can you go on the butterfly completely? Let go, little guy. Let go, little guy. Let go. We're gonna bring the pan to you, and then we're gonna go, whoop. Look at that. Look at that. We have a little man. This pan has seen better days. But look at our little man. Wow. Now for the actual maple cakes, I'm gonna try to make my own recipe. I don't, though I haven't tested it out yet, so we're gonna learn in real time whether this is a good recipe or not. And I'm not gonna make a ton, because we are going to put a ton of toppings on this for the episode's description of what Gunny puts on his maple cakes. So we're just gonna try it out and see how it goes. And we're gonna start with 1 cup of flour. There's 1 cup of flour. We are gonna cook part of it in a skillet. We're gonna cook the other half in the little pan again, just because I couldn't really decide whether I was picturing a Dutch baby or more bite-sized pancake things. So we're gonna try to cook them both ways. Most of the batter is going to go in the skillet when it's done, and then we're gonna try some little cookie cutter molds in the pan to see if that works. But we have to make the batter first. Just a little pinch of salt. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of sugar. I'm gonna use 1 tablespoon of baking powder. We're gonna have it. We're gonna have it. Actually, we're gonna do half, because that just seemed like an awful lot of baking powder. Wait a minute. I just used half a teaspoon, not half a tablespoon. So I just messed up the measurements. We're just gonna do a teaspoon of the baking powder, and then we're gonna do half a teaspoon of the baking soda. Flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, questionable amounts. Then we're gonna do cinnamon. Put a hefty amount of cinnamon in there. Cinnamon. Whisk the dry ingredients together, and then I'm gonna add all of the wet ingredients. I'm saying that like I know what I'm doing, but I'm making this up and I have no idea what I'm doing, so we're just gonna go for it. Now instead of any water, I'm just gonna go with milk. I usually add milk to the box mix to make it fluffy and thick, so my brain says just do all milk and see what happens. I do half a cup of milk. See where that gets us, and if it's a little too thick, we'll add more, and if it's a little too thin, we'll just add a tiny little bit of flour to even it out. I'm gonna add a splash of vanilla, very old vanilla. Now we're gonna add the egg. Oh, buddy. Oh, why can I not crack an egg anymore? The most atrocious egg crack I've ever done in my life, but that's okay. No shell, no shell. Rinse my fingers. And now since these are maple cakes, we're gonna add a tablespoon of maple syrup. I was initially going to put 2 tablespoons of sugar to go in this, but I thought since I'm adding maple syrup, I'll do half sugar, half maple syrup. Hopefully it'll give it a nice mapley taste, although I don't think there could be too much maple in a maple cake, so we might add more. That's everything I have listed, so I'm gonna mix it up and see what the texture is like, and then if we need to add anything, we will. We definitely need more milk. So I would say maybe a cup of milk to a cup of flour for this. If this works, I'll write it down and I'll share the recipe with you on the screen once it's all complete and it's been taste tested to see if it's any good. And you know what, if it's not good, I won't do that to you. I should have put butter or something in this. It's a decent texture. I'm gonna add a splash more of the maple just because it's a maple cake. I really want that to come through, so we're just gonna add
2 shots.
Just a drizzle more. Just gonna scoop some of the batter out to make our mini maple cakes. I'm gonna go butter the skillet, and then we're gonna pour our batter in there and we're gonna bake it at, I didn't think about this. I'm gonna say 350 for 10 minutes. We'll check it after 10 minutes, see where it's at, and then if we need to go to 15 and see where it's at then.
Okay, filming the rest of this on my phone because my camera died. One important thing about the maple cake that Gunny gets is that he gets the works.
Pistachios, extra fudge, bananas,
Yeah.
whipped cream, vanilla, and icing.
Yes, great.
One of the toppings is whipped cream, so I'm going to try to make some whipped cream with some heavy whipped cream alternative. I've never used plant-based heavy whipping cream, so we'll see how that goes.
And as far as the toppings go, I made a really quick icing just using some powdered sugar and some milk. I sliced up a banana and sprinkled on some whole unsalted pistachios. Time to give it a try. I'll start with our little squirrel friend. His head's been falling off this whole time. It's a pancake. I'm gonna try our park-friendly maple cakes first.
Filming on my phone again because my camera died and my phone is about to die as well. We'll try the small ones first and see how that goes. Try to get a little bit of everything. I'm just gonna spread out the whipped cream a little more. Okay, unsurprisingly, the combination of everything is pretty nice. I think my maple cakes are the problem. They are quite dense. I think it's because I put too much baking powder and baking soda in. If I put less baking powder and baking soda in and instead add another egg, it might give it a better texture. Not bad by any means. It's pretty tasty. I do get the maple just a little bit. Not as much as I thought because I added more. The maple cakes themselves are already so sweet, so I did a very light drizzle of the icing and the fudge. And the bananas are bananas. They work well with the pistachios and everything else. I'll say one thing I would definitely change aside from perfecting the maple cakes themselves. I got unsalted pistachios because I didn't know what to expect from this recipe. And I wish I had gotten salted pistachios because everything else is so sweet. It would have added a nice little bit of salt to it. But yeah, it's yummy. Of course it is. It's a pancake with a lot of toppings. Now we're gonna try the skillet cooked one. Cut a sliver that's got a little bit of everything. Okay, it did cook all the way through. That drizzle of maple syrup I added right before I put it in the oven did result in a little bit of, in little pockets of maple syrup, so I think that'll be yummy. My love, I'm so sorry. We cannot have this. I think I like the skillet one the best. I kind of pictured cakes that have maple in them, but are also kind of drenched in maple syrup. So I think drizzling the maple syrup on before putting it in to bake had the best result. The maple cake itself is still pretty dense because of the same issues that I had with the small ones. I think I'm gonna make it my mission to perfect maple cakes. I do want to try this again.
And I did. I tried making the maple cakes again, and this time I fixed the ratios. I added 3 eggs instead of just 1. I have 1 cup of flour and specifically 2 tablespoons, and only a teaspoon of baking powder to see if I could get a better texture, and I did indeed. They were more fluffy and with a half a cup of maple syrup instead of just a splash, and I didn't shy away from the toppings this time. I think the first time I was so afraid of it being too much that I went kind of light on the toppings, but it's a theme park food, so if they're gonna go crazy on anything, it's gonna be the toppings to hide how small your actual portion size is and then charge you too much money for it. And overall, between the texture, the taste, and the just wild amount of toppings. Oh, I also salted and crushed the pistachios this time.
I also managed to make a squirrel-shaped form out of some aluminum foil, and it worked out so much better than I thought it would. Combining the maple cakes with the squirrel pancakes was the best idea ever, because look at how cute they are. And you know, maple cakes shaped like squirrels. Squirrels climb trees, maple comes from trees. It all makes sense. This worked. It was edible, and it was tasty, so I think that's a success. And that means we only have one more recipe left.
Okay, we've reached our final recipe. It's been a wild ride, but hopefully this one is straightforward enough to wrap things up on a good note. Our last recipe is actually a drink recipe from Tales from the Stinky Dragon, since Elga von Brath was our last project. Tales from the Stinky Dragon is kind of told from the perspective of, well, at least in the first season, I think it's the tavern keeper, the barkeep, pub, tavern. I'm not gonna pretend like I know the difference. And then season 2 is from the point of view of a barista. So all of the recipes before the episodes of season 2, which is the one that Elga is from, the Groteth campaign, they're all coffee recipes or drinks that you'd find in a cafe. So I went back and listened to a few episodes to find one that was sort of Elga related, and I found Look on the Bite Side. To make Look on the Bite Side, we need some Count Chocula syrup, a dollop of whipped scream, cinnamon and nutmeg, just cinnamon and nutmeg, and a gushing artery of caffeinated blood, in this case coffee. To start things off, I'm gonna make the coffee first by using some instant coffee, some milk, and to make things a little bloody, we're going to add some food coloring. Come on. I'm not strong like Elga. Come on, please. Thank you. I'm just gonna fill a little mug and then I'm gonna pop that in the microwave. And I'm gonna put it in for about 1:30. We're gonna serve this one cold, but heating up the milk helps dissolve the coffee a little bit. I have this little stirring spoon, not quite an exact measurement. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 3 little scoops of coffee, and then we won't go too crazy. We'll just add maybe 2 drops. 1, 2, yeah, let's add 3. And then you're just gonna mix it in. I have this handy dandy little milk frother. Just stirs it up. Woo! Oh, oh, oh. It's pink. Not quite blood red, but it'll do. Okay, and there we have our coffee. We can give it a taste, see if it's strong enough. Ugh, I forgot there's no sugar in this. It's not quite strong enough. I'm gonna add a touch more of the coffee. And I was originally going to save the chocolate, or our Count Chocula syrup, for when we decorate the glass. But I think I want to mix some into the coffee too. Just sweeten it up a little bit. And while the coffee's still warm, I'm also gonna add a little dash of the cinnamon, just a tiny sprinkle of the nutmeg. Give it another mix. Now the last ingredient it calls for is a dollop of whipped cream. We're gonna make our own by using some heavy whipping cream, some sugar, a little bit of vanilla, and we're gonna make it all in this little mug that I popped in the freezer for a bit to cool down the vessel, which just kind of helps the whipped cream come together. We'll do a 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream. This will be more than we need for the coffee, but you can't have too much whipped cream. I'm gonna pour this over the sink. In here I have 1/2 cup of whipping cream. I'm gonna guess the measurements here. So we're gonna start with a tablespoon of sugar. We're gonna measure with our heart. And then whip that up. Last time I tried making whipping cream like this with a milk frother, it took quite a while to come together with just the milk frother going, and I eventually had to whip it up by hand, which took quite a while, but it is possible. Oh my! Time for an apron, I guess. My arms. I'm gonna whip this up and then check back.
A few moments later.
I think that's the best I can do. And I think that means we're ready to assemble. I originally had this mug out, but then I remembered I have a much cooler vessel for this to be in, my little Erlenmeyer flask from Universal. So we are going to put our Look on the Bite side in here. First, I'm going to pour a little bit of Count Chocula syrup in the bottom. Now I've seen this online, but I've never tried it, where people take a milk frother and they dip it into the thing and then they just kind of all the way up and it makes like stripes of chocolate. Dip it in, lift it up, and then we have our Count Chocula syrup in the bottom. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put our coffee in here. I'm gonna go do that over the sink so I don't make a mess. It's not very full. Then I'm going to try and put a dollop of our whipped cream in the flask. I don't know how well that's going to go. Oh my. Okay, definitely looks more like a science experiment than a coffee. My straightforward recipe has turned on me. Oh, I shouldn't have done this. And then I'm gonna sprinkle a little more of our nutmeg and our cinnamon. And there is our Look on the Bite side. Now to give it a shot. I like my coffees on the sweeter side, so I think I should have added some sugar when I made the coffee. If I mix in that whipped cream, it'll add that little bit of sugar it's missing. I thought I put too much chocolate syrup in it at first, and I thought it was going to overpower everything, but I was wrong. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's really good. Mixing in the whipped cream with everything, that little bit of sugar was missing. And you know what? I think it'd be good warm or cold. I'm gonna go finish this up. That was a long one. That darn aioli, man. I was so excited for the aioli and I thought it was going to be really easy, but I think it's the only one that didn't work out. The pizookie turned out really well, and the lemon bars, I think my crust could have used a little more finesse or something, but overall those lemon bars were very good. Round 2 maple cakes turned out so much better. So here's the recipe I made up if you want to try it for yourself. And speaking of round 2s, I also made Look on the Bite side again. I've already had about half of this. And I didn't hold back on anything. I added a little bit more chocolate, a little bit more nutmeg, a little bit more cinnamon. I made the coffee stronger and I added an extra drop of red food coloring. I didn't bother heating up the milk before making the coffee. I just kind of threw everything in here and mixed it all up, and it's delicious. It was good before, but it's even better now. Not quite blood red. Because of the chocolate, that's never going to happen. Now sometimes you can make fake blood using chocolate syrup and red food dye, and it's ironic that because of the chocolate syrup, it's just not very concentrated in color. But overall, again, round 2 was way more successful. This was a lot of work. Props to everybody who makes cooking videos, because this was rough. That being said, I'm really glad I did it, because it was also a lot of fun trying to figure things out. Hello, you want uppies right now? Hey, what are you doing? Did you just need a cuddle. I'm almost done with the outro. I don't know if cooking videos will become a regular thing on this channel, but maybe here and there. It's kind of fun and delicious. If you like this video, you can let me know by hitting the like button. And if you want to see what we're doing next and join the channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I post, hit the notification bell. YouTube will let you know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!